are following breaking news. We have new video of Luigi Mangione's arrival at a courthouse in Pennsylvania. That's where we are anticipating an extradition hearing for the 26-year-old Ivy League graduate and high school valedictorian accused in the murder of health insurance CEO Brian Thompson.
Yeah, let's see this moment. It is actually sort of something to watch. He was trying to send a message, but police rush him off very quickly.
And it's completely out of touch. And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
All right, so we just heard him yell that about it, sort of something being unjust. This is an insult to the intelligence of the American people. Let's bring in trial attorney Mercedes Colwin with us.
Let me play that again. I need to see that one more time. I want to hear what he had to say.
And it's completely out of touch. And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
He said it's completely unjust and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and their lived experiences. This is completely unjust and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and their lived experiences. Let me say that one more time. He said this is completely unjust and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and their lived experiences.
All right, so we just heard him yell that about it, sort of something being unjust. This is an insult to the intelligence of the American people. Let's bring in trial attorney Mercedes Colwin with us. Look, this is someone between what you're hearing him say right there, manifesto, messages left on these bullets. Right. I mean, this is someone on a mission, it appears. He is the alleged killer in this case. We have to be very clear about that. He's facing an extradition hearing here, but I just wonder what you think of a moment like that as you see it, knowing the evidence that police say they have on this person.
Brianna, it's very disturbing, and those types of outbursts will certainly be evaluated by his defense team because that's just not normal. I mean, we've already had reports that he has been very strange since over the summer, that he has become reclusive. This manifesto is these rantings and ravings of an individual that obviously has some aberrant thoughts in his mind, and that's why he put it down on paper. So all of that is certainly very disturbing. The defense is going to have to evaluate whether this is an individual that really will even understand the charges. I mean, they may, depending on how aberrant his thoughts are, he has to be able to understand the process and the proceedings, even at this stage. And if there's some indication that he isn't able to do so, there might have to be some psychological evaluation, and then that will be reported back to the judge, and the judge will make the ultimate ruling as to whether or not to proceed with the proceeding. But this type of outburst is definitely very disturbing.
Yeah, this isn't going away anytime soon. I think that this is going to be slow. It's going to be methodical. Now you're adding another wrinkle to it because his history and everything that they discovered about him, including talking to his old classmates, several of them came out of the woodwork immediately and was like, listen, he come from a privileged background. He went to a private school with all boys. He was a valedictorian of the class. He did really well. Another one of his friends said that, or his roommate, a previous roommate, said that he had sent him pictures of screws in his back or something that basically indicated that he had back problems and it looked horrific or something like that. I don't know how true that is. They say he had took some time off in order to go and recover from his back injuries in Hawaii. And then they say over the last 6 months, he basically went off the grid. And then this is the resulting part of it. Couple different things. The first thing is, I know that there are people that still lean more conspiracy theory, and you're never going to stop people from doing a conspiracy theory thing. The only thing that I can do as a person that responsibly reports the news and reacts to it is to give my opinion based off of what I observe. Now, I have my own opinion about a lot of things, one of them being that I believe that he was too sheltered as he was growing up, and the first time that he was met with opposition, he went off the rails. Now, I'm not going to deep dive into that. I've already went into that on the Millionaire Morning Show specifically. But what is interesting is that he continues to go off the rails according to what is recorded, which then lends itself to the possibility of maybe an insanity plea, right? Is he fit to stand trial? What does that look like? And how does that translate, right? I think that more people, if he had done this to one of his enemies or somebody that was a regular person, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. The fact that it is attached to the United Healthcare Insurance Division CEO makes it more sensational, which is one of the reasons why we're trying to parse through all of the information and all of the data and all of the police reports to find out what really happened and why it's playing out the way that it's playing out. The fact that he was raised in a privileged background, I think that people are really missing the privilege part of it, and the fact that, well, let's hear a little bit more of what they have to say on CNN. I was looking at this on multiple different platforms, but let's see what they have to say first.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You saw officers shuffling him in as quickly as possible. I'm wondering, Mercedes, as you're talking about the suspect here having a grasp of what the proceedings are going to be like, what actually happens at an extradition hearing?
There has to be an establishment by the demanding state. Demanding state is New York. The asylum state is Pennsylvania. So the demanding state, that New York has to establish to law enforcement that this is the individual that was the alleged shooter of Brian Thompson. So they'll have to go through the evidence that we've already described, the manifesto, the ghost gun, the images that we saw, even the eyewitness. They may even bring in some of the eyewitness who was discovered. The arresting officer in Pennsylvania will come forward and talk about the exchange that he had with Mangione. It's already been reported that arresting officer, when asked Mangione, the first words out of his mouth, it's been reported, he asked Mangione, were you in New York? And certainly Mangione, at least this officer, claims that he was very nervous when asked that question.
Of course he was.
So there will be testimony, there will be evidence, but Mangione can waive it. I mean, depending on whether he waives it, it doesn't sound, to Brianna's point, doesn't sound like he may waive the hearing. And if he does waive the hearing, then he will be extradited without any further process. It doesn't sound like that's going to happen. It will have to be. It certainly sounds like there will be this process with witnesses and evidence being set forth before the judge. And the judge will make the ultimate ruling that there is probable cause to establish that Mangione is, in fact, the alleged killer of Brian Thompson.
I know what everybody else saying. Oh no, it must have been somebody else. I even seen people try to attach Nancy Pelosi to it and things like that. I don't. I don't. Again, I go by what I observe, and I also know I'm not crazy, right? I've been dealing with the media, especially large media, for long enough to know that sometimes they finesse, sometimes they also play into an agenda and everything like that. I don't see that here. I don't see that playing out here. I think that we are going to be talking about this well into 2025. Um, and then eventually it'll go away like everything else and we won't hear anything from it. My initial reaction to it, of him being arrested and learning more about his background, is that he did come from a place where he never had to suffer. And the minute that he started to go through things, or the minute that his life was upended, then he started to go down this dark path, possibly to be indoctrinated or to be influenced by things that happens or plays out from people that go through things and haven't ever been through nothing when they was younger and never failed in a controlled environment. He was supposed to be great. He had everything going for him, and he's in a position that he's in now because of his own undoing. But that doesn't, in my opinion, still validate you going out and killing anybody, even though a bunch of people was going to celebrate it because society is miserable. But that's just my opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, T-Chanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And then get your tickets to come and kick it with me this weekend in Detroit, December 14th. All of that information is in the description. Use discount code Anton. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.